First of all, we put all our microservices up
Autofilled.
on AWS. Second of all, React is the fastest component. React is the fastest front-end framework. Your React will always beat JavaScript, and the virtual DOM is the best. Third of all, I'd like to thank Terry Davis for blessing me so much. I don't know all of Morgan Stanley's funds. Sorry, I can't help you. I mean, pure JavaScript is better than React, I think. React's okay for managing state. Arch Linux, isn't that for the real neckbeards? Equity research guys make $1 million, $500,000, depending on your II ranking. Make 2. Trump's America, but it's still New York State. Gen 2, I remember that. Kali Linux, baby. Yeah, Momo stocks are going to get punished. Again, think of the market as a linear combination of factors. And if you ask yourself, this is kind of what we did yesterday. We said, well, what factors, who has momentum factor? HIMS. And if momentum factor is going to go for sale, short anything with momentum factor. Zscaler has some momentum factor. So does any stock that's been up a lot. That's momentum factor. I don't know if Bitcoin will hit 300K by end of year. That would require quite an interesting set of macro scenarios. I think it's more likely Bitcoin either stays flat or drops a bit. I can see it go up a bit. It's pretty unlikely, but my net kind of assumption is Bitcoin sort of fades to like 75K-ish. What'd Berachain do? Ooh, wow, Berachain jumped. Yeah, people are DMing me in the middle of the night like, should I be shorting Bera? Like, man, let me get some sleep, man. Yeah, just linear combination is just, the basic linear algebra idea that you have some coefficient sort of explains every factor. So here's a 3-factor model. For every stock, by modulating the coefficients, you can adjust alpha, beta, and gamma, right, to equal the stock change, delta. So these are the 3 factors, X, Y, and Z. X, Y, and Z. And now there's infinite number of factors, but we were focused on the momentum factor, which is basically how much has the stock been up or down lately? Does it have positive momentum or negative momentum? It's almost like the second derivative too. Y could be something like quality. This is a high quality company, Palantir's high quality. Or is it a low quality company like QUBT or SEAL? How about the industry? That's a factor. Country is a factor. So many factors. Management quality, diversification. I mean, there's so many qualities. So you just keep adjusting these weights and you can impute what's happening to these factors. And you can basically price every single stock. And this is what hedge funds do. You make the best factor model, you make the most money. Get that bread, young blood. Get that bread. Early Renaissance was factor models. If you want to go read the book, there's a little bit of clues in there. There's a lot of clues in there. The Man Who Solved the Market, a couple of clues. Check them out. It's not going to give you the whole system, but just crossing the bid-ask spread is enough for these quant funds to go from profitable to unprofitable. So you got to keep in mind that a 5% return with a 0.5% standard deviation is the go. You may not see it as big return, but if you lever that SOB up, it is a huge return. I'll be right back and get some coffee. I always want candidates who are overqualified. So somebody who's worked on Wall Street, you have to live in New York. If you don't live in New York, don't even call me. It's a waste of my time. So somebody who's worked on Wall Street or is working on Wall Street now, somebody who knows a little bit about programming, somebody who has relationships on Wall Street. This is somebody who, just has to manage a lot of relationships. I'm not sure what the Texas Stock Exchange is going to, how that's going to work or how it's going to do. No clue. I've never really worked at a big company. I mean, I have, but mostly I've been working at companies I've started. I mean, wealth management's always been about relationships, right? It's not really much else. It's kind of like, I have to have my money with somebody. Might as well be this guy I like. And as long as he doesn't lose it, I'm happy. And obviously there's more complex relationships than that, or asks from the client. Yeah, I haven't looked at Bicycle. What are they up to? Never really understood the conceit of that company. It's kind of cringe. Wingstop. I would never short Wingstop simply because of Rick Ross's involvement. Oh, that was funny, Michael. I could not believe that was real. The guy saying he controls the president of Argentina because he pays his sister some money. Stop. There's a Wingstop in New York. I haven't eaten there yet. I'm not trading Palantir, man. I mean, I probably would buy it, but okay, I'll buy a little bit. $100, we're in Palantir. 101. 100.8. A lot of these people don't understand that I'm only hiring a New York person. No, we don't do hybrid. It's a real job. You have to show up. You know who does remote jobs? Let me show you a video. I have a secret video of somebody who's doing remote jobs.
So I saw this. This is so painful to watch, but you're gonna have to watch it. You have to watch it just to know how bad things really are.
Gen Z boss enemy! Gen Z boss enemy! Itty bitty titties in a ball! Itty bitty titties in a ball!
So the problem is that even those girls, those ladies, are above remote workers. Because at least they're in the office. Right? Exactly. Thomas got it. Making a $140K a year, sitting sending some emails.
Order filled.
You are a grown man. You can go to the office, you can build something amazing and make millions of dollars. Don't tell me you want to work remote. Well, you actually build real relationships with people. You never know. One of those girls go work for Steve Cohen. They say, oh, we got an opening. You know, I always worked with Martin or Muhammad or Don or Drax or Kev or Shaka or TWM or DGM or Peso. Yeah, you know, I got this job at this hedge fund Millennium, and gosh, the smartest person I knew at that firm was Don or Thomas. And, you know, I think we should hire him. Let's at least get him in for an interview. Like, all right, Sally. If he was the smartest guy you worked with, let's bring him in. You know, it's good to make relationships. Or the CEO walks by. Oh, Mr. Gabe, I love your tie today, sir. You got a little glazing. Thanks, MW. Thanks, Leo. Thanks, Michael. You have 5 minutes? I got this new secret project I want somebody to work on. You might be just the guy. What's he gonna do? Call you remote? Nah. He's gonna look at you and say, you've been glazing so hard, let me put you on this secret project. So, again, you know, I'm not saying every single remote job is a bad idea. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying think about this and why people like Jamie Dimon are saying, you know, they don't want any remote workers. You're never going to be 100% in office workers, but the idea of a remote worker was basically not a thing 20 years ago. Yeah, and I'm not saying it like I'm surprised. I'm just saying the world was just fine without remote work. I don't know if you guys know this, but I know a little bit about computers. So I understand why remote work wasn't a thing 20 years ago. It shouldn't be a choice for the worker. What are you, crazy? Why would I miss out on all of the benefits of in-person work because you want to be more comfortable? Now look, if the labor market's so good that people can demand remote work, then that's the labor market. But yeah, people have remote offices. That's not. Yeah, they've had that for a long time. All you need is a phone call. Yeah, I'm not saying you can't be successful, you know, as a remote company. There's people that can be successful with, you know, in spite of themselves. It's not the question. The question is, you know, what's the optimal? No, I bought a little Palantir at 100.8, and I bought some at 99.50. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with managing a portfolio. I think, you know, the harder part is getting lots of product interest. We didn't really get a ton of product interest in Needs, so we're going to shut it down. But, you know, ML is a little harder than it looks, and doing scale with GPUs is pretty expensive. You know, so it's a little harder to bootstrap something like that. So if you do have something that's doing really well, you should focus on it. But you can have two things that are doing really well at the right price, Don, sure. But there will be a lot of robotics players, and it's going to be hard to get the perfect winner. But one of these guys will 100x figures already, 20x or 50x. Oh, that was a good one. Tempest AI. That was a perfect anti-momentum. Look, it's down 15%. Yeah, I don't mind being long Palantir and taking a little L here because Rigetti's dropping like a rock. No specific recommendations on options trading books, sorry. Like I said, really good idea to read the entire 10K if you have time. It's SXEY, L3 model S. Let's see here. Cybertruck and Model X. And on energy storage, Powerwall and Megapack. I think you should read the whole 10K for every stock, of course, that you invest in, of course, bare minimum. I almost hope Palantir drops to 84.88 because that means the rest of my portfolio is going to drop worse, I think. That's my bet, at least. You want to do focus? Like, you want to have a pop out for a price like this? That's focus. If you just want to get the quote, you type either Q or just hit enter. They did do an insurance product, interestingly. So Tesla has an insurance product, interesting. Trump team plans deep cuts at the office that funds disaster recovery. Just working away, trying to conjure the magic machine. Just trying to simulate physics, Dad. All right, you winning yet, son? You winning yet, son? Yeah, I created a parallel universe in the quantum computer. Alright, sounds good. Sounds nice. Yeah, these braids are topologically invariant. I guess that's the concept. It doesn't really affect the IonQ thesis much. I am still short. It's my biggest position. I will say this. If you can get truly braided topological qubits, it basically puts ion traps out of business. And they say they did it. You know, I think a lot of people don't believe them. And it's partially because they said they did it a few years ago too. And they had to retract. So time will tell. Proof is in the pudding. They put it on Azure and we can play with it, then, you know, we can tell. But ion traps are a little like the shitty version of what Microsoft is trying to do with topological. Like, if they truly can do topological, there's just no point to ion traps. Now, superconducting transmons are different. You know, those are the Google, IBM, Rigetti approach. Those are kind of more like middle ground. You know, Microsoft, think of it as like a moonshot. Yeah, so like maybe the best way to think about it is like almost like a probability curve of, you know, performance. We'll put performance up here, and we'll put reality over here and sci-fi over here. So the Microsoft idea is up here. It is super high performance. It would be awesome, but is it real is the question. You know, it's kind of got some issues, and we just don't know how real topological approach is. And I'm not sure, by the way, that it would be very hard for people to jump on the topological bus. Like, Microsoft is the only guy in this space, and they pioneered this space. Okay, so in the middle is sort of IBM, Google, and Rigetti, and others. And they sort of have these Josephson junction superconducting circuits that use transmons to, you know, basically the whole circuit is a qubit. And look, they work. We play with them. They're not so great when it comes to like, how do you scale these things to millions of them? It doesn't feel like that's going to be easy. They don't really do anything. So like I would sort of push performance this way. Now, could there be breakthroughs that get us there? Yeah, Willow was sort of a breakthrough on the error correction side, but you're still talking about this ratio of maybe 1,000 physical qubits to one actual functional logical qubit. So, you know, it feels like this is still 10, 20 years away. And the error rates here are like 99.9, which is, you know, 10 to the negative fourth, and they need to be 10 to the negative 18th. It just doesn't feel like that's happening tomorrow. I mean, very, very, very unlikely. Okay. And then finally, you know, there's sort of IonQ, and the neutral atom companies. IonQ is an ion, obviously, and the neutral atoms are another thing. And these are like, you know, they're interesting because they work right away, but they're very unscalable if you ask me. Some people disagree on that. They have the same error problem here, exists here, but it certainly feels like by chaining these atoms, you chain these ytterbium atoms, right? And they're in this they're in this kind of wall. It's hard to scale this, and by having all these atoms in this chain, you use lasers to sort of control them and cool them, as well as a vacuum chamber. And it just doesn't seem like you can really scale this to 1,000 qubits. Their goal is take these as a self-contained thing, make some quantum-like channel, which is just total science fiction, not possible, and then have another layer, and then you could somehow multiply this into thousands of these things. That seems impossible. IonQ hasn't put anything out more than 30 qubits. Some of the neutral atom guys are a lot bigger, so we'll sort of see how that all plays out. D-Wave isn't really on this scale. I mean, they'd sort of be in the negative numbers down here somewhere. You know, this is D-Wave, and they have a box. It doesn't do anything. So its performance isn't even like theoretically ever going to be good. It's just trash. So it's not even a computer. So D-Wave is like, they made a box, but they made a box a while ago and nobody's bought it. It's just not a real thing. Otherwise they'd have 100 million in revenue or something. But at least, you know, look, these quantum computing companies, if they could get thousands of gates, millions of gates, lots of qubits, good error rates, they would be interesting boxes. Now, the commercial opportunity is not great, but just going from speculation to an actual machine that works and it can do real calculations, you know, that's the goal. Nobody's done that yet. Nobody's done that. Nobody has a box that can do real calculations. The question is, which one of these guys can make the box? And then two, which one of these guys is actually going to find a commercial opportunity that's more than 50 mil, 100 mil? And that's being generous, to be honest. Other than like guys like Microsoft and the army playing around because it's super cool, like a real business like Bayer or Merck or AMD or someone, you know, in material science like DuPont that looks at it and says, I don't care about the coolness of working on a quantum computer. I know they're rare. I only care about the business case. Can I make money with this thing by designing new tools? Can I make money by making better drugs? And I don't think anybody's going to say yes, other than, oh, wow, we're Merck, we're rich. It would be cool to have a quantum computer for a few million. Let's just play around and stay at the cutting edge and tell Wall Street we're on the cutting edge. Like, that's not a real customer. It's when the customer can actually say, this is earning me money. I like this. That's the question. Now, Microsoft, IBM, Google, they have such great base businesses, they don't really care if when time comes, they'll actually find applications. And you heard you heard Sundar say, like, look, this reminds you of AI. We don't really know what the application is today, but we're going to wait and see. Now, the problem is they might wait and see forever. There is no application, actually. So, you know, I think Microsoft is the biggest threat to these guys because they're trying to chain neutral atoms when the best way to do it is to chain the anyons, I should say. The anyons, by being braided topologically, they're invariant. They can't really have errors, so you can scale them. And Satya, you heard him say, like, these are hard to fabricate. They were theoretical. And so making these is going to be tricky. Now, there's still a lot of questions about Microsoft. Is it fake? Is it real? You know, let's see the device. They have 8 qubits. They said they can get to a million. Well, that's a thing to say. You know, it's like lifting 8 pounds and saying, I'm going to lift 1 million pounds. Well, proof is in the pudding. Let's see it. And, you know, on the way from 8 to 1 million, they may add 50,000 or even 5,000 or 20. You know, it turns out that this stuff doesn't scale. There's quantum noise or, you know, we'll see. Equity research will probably always be around. I mean, machines will be useful, but they'll probably be tools for analysts more than their replacements. I don't know what's going to happen on earnings, but it'll be interesting if they give 2025 guidance, which I think they will. Trying to get gallium and germanium prices on Godel. All types of cattle and livestock. I want you to be able to trade a couple of cows in your spare time. You're not trading salmon? You're not trading salmon, get out of here, man. I'm talking about eggs, $8 for eggs. I'm short eggs up 150% year over year. You know they're coming down? Get the chickens going, let's go.
Get me along some beef and some poultry in exchange. Sir, you've cornered the uranium market.
Excellent.
I'll make you a perpetual future market. I don't care.
Oh my God, should I tokenize eggs? That's a good idea. It's crypto degens start buying eggs. Ain't $3 for a dozen. I don't know what type of plug price you got.
You want a dozen eggs? It's like $8, baby. Each chicken lays a dozen eggs. I'll make it $8 a chicken.
Don't count the money I gotta spend to feed them, but
This is money, exactly, Patrick. It's just popping out money.
problem is Rick Ross. He comes around, he's eat the chicken.
It's slightly bullish on Moderna, nothing great.
Food's gone up a lot, and Hims has gone up a lot. You might want to take some money off the table. These stocks have gone up quite a bit.
So it might be time to say goodbye.
You can short ZAR, the South African rand. So this would blow out in that direction. One rand is 5 cents. So 18 rand make $1. So it'll probably be 20, 30, 40, 50. They're not misreported. They're real trades. But yeah, you can exclude them, I think. Let me see if I'm already hiding anomalies. So even more anomalies. Yeah, I gave a lot of takes on Microsoft's new play. Or new Microsoft's. It's not really new. They've been working on this stuff for 18 years, 15 years. Yeah, I think that paranormal might be right, unless you're doing something really different or you have a tremendous amount of talent. One of the two.
See, the market's come down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we bought some Palantir earlier. I don't know if you guys have sold it or not. I'd probably kick it out of here for a good trade. You need a buffalo chicken slice? I got you. Yeah, we bought it at 100.8. So at 103.5, you can. I don't know if I'd buy AppLovin. It's gone up so much. Congratulations. Hopefully you got a lot of options. I don't think I agree with you that the bear thesis is just people who don't get the business, but it doesn't mean like it's cheap now all of a sudden because it's gone from 500 to 400. You know, maybe it's actually worth 300. So just because somebody talked 500 doesn't mean they're smart. Market makers don't have as much power as I think some of you guys think. Because there's lots of market makers.